These machines don't break down. They wear down, slowly, reluctantly. After decades of rain, grit, heat, neglect, and everything else the road can throw at them. These are the bikes that go the distance, not just 100,000, not even 200,000, but 300,000 kilometers and beyond. And some, 500,000. No rebuild, no drama, just roll on and ride. Born in the age of naked muscle, the Suzuki Bandit line has been roaring since 1989. It's not high-tech, it's not delicate, it's just a big engine, 2 wheels, and an attitude problem, and it's stubbornly hard to kill. The Bandit 1200 is raw. The 1250, a bit more refined, but both share the same DNA, cheap, fast, and built to survive just about anything. With basic maintenance, these bikes regularly clock 300,000 kilometers and just keep going. The 1200 runs an air and oil-cooled inline-4 that traces back to the legendary GSXR 1100. Detuned for torque and reliability, it puts out around 98 horsepower with a strong, usable mid-range. The 1250 modernized the platform. Liquid cooling, fuel injection, a 6-speed gearbox, and even more low-end pulling power. Both models ride in a simple steel tube frame, with curb weights between 215 and 225 kilos. But once you're moving, the weight disappears. It's not about finesse. It's about a bike that takes everything you throw at it and comes back asking for more. The Kawasaki Concours never tried to be flashy. It just quietly outlasted everything else. Launched in 1986, the Concours 1000 took a Ninja-based engine, added a shaft drive, hard luggage, and wind protection, and built one of the most underappreciated long-distance machines of its time. In fact, when it was first tested against the BMW K100 LT, a slightly faster but far more expensive touring rival, journalists called the Concours superior in almost every aspect imaginable. And not just for the price. It was faster, more comfortable, more practical, and most importantly, more durable. Its 997 cubic centimeter inline-4 was detuned for torque and longevity, with a smooth ride and rock-solid reliability. 300,000 kilometers? Very possible, and many examples are still out there racking up more. Then came the 1400, bigger, heavier, and faster. Based on the 1,352 cubic centimeter engine straight from the ZX14, it was tuned for touring but still pushing 150 horsepower. The 1400 also had liquid cooling, variable valve timing, and more tech into the mix. But even with all that power, the 1400 GTR didn't forget its roots. It's still a distance crusher with bulletproof build quality, shaft drive, and a frame that doesn't flinch. Both bikes tip the scales around 300 kilos, but they carry their weight like pro athletes, confident and composed at speed. Once they are on the highway, they settle into an effortless rhythm. Riders say they're like locomotives, just point and go. So no, the Concours never had the prestige of a BMW. But if you want a bike that goes the distance without drama, this is the one that always shows up, puts in the work, and doesn't complain. The Honda Shadow series is often overlooked, but these V-twin cruisers will still be running long after the loud bikes have given up. Back in January 1983, Cycle magazine called it arguably the most technologically sophisticated V ever designed. They weren't exaggerating. The early VT750 featured advanced engineering for its time: a 3-valve, 2-spark plug combustion chamber, a vibration-canceling offset dual-pin crankshaft, and hydraulic valve adjusters that eliminated routine maintenance. Everything was built to last and run smooth. The VT750 puts out around 45 PS and 65 Nm of torque, while the VT1100 bumps that to 62 PS and nearly 100 Nm. Both engines are low-revving, long-stroke V-twins with real pull-down low, perfect for relaxed cruising. Depending on the model, you'll get either shaft or chain final drive, but both setups have proven themselves over hundreds of thousands of kilometers. They're not performance bikes, they're forever bikes, built for comfort, simplicity, and the kind of reliability that makes you forget where your toolbox is. Don't let the 1980s styling fool you. BMW's K-Series bikes were engineered to outlive just about everything. These bikes were developed together, but BMW introduced the K75 a year after the K100 as a marketing strategy. Overbuilt by design, the original K100 came out swinging with a 987 cubic centimeter inline-4, fuel injection, shaft drive, and a longitudinal layout. This layout was well suited to BMW's traditional shaft drive. It also kept the bike's center of gravity low and made space behind the front wheel for the radiator. A year later, BMW drops the K75, same DNA, one less cylinder making it a 740 cubic centimeter triple, but kept the same bore and stroke as the K100. Thanks to its perfect primary balance, the K75 is actually the smoother of the two, with less vibration and a slightly more refined feel. Both bikes are liquid-cooled, shaft-driven, and feature single-sided swing arms, dry clutches, and that unmistakable industrial hum. Need parts? Many components are interchangeable between the two, though not all. The K75, for example, runs a smaller radiator and tank. But here's the bottom line. These bikes weren't just made to last. They were made to outlast everything else on the road. Nobody talks about the TDM, and that's their loss. With a tall stance, torquey parallel twin, and weird styling, it never found mass appeal, but it did find die-hard fans who ride them forever. Many TDMs have crossed 300K with no signs of slowing down, an underrated legend hiding in plain sight. It didn't fit into a category, and maybe that's why it stuck around. The TDM is part sport bike, part tourer, part ADV, and all grit. Its parallel twin engine is built to go the distance. It's not flashy, but it's a survivor. Ride it every day, take it around the world, it'll keep going, and most people won't even know what passed them. The original TDM 850 used an 849 cubic centimeter parallel twin, making 77 horsepower, while the later 900 upgraded to fuel injection, a 270-degree crank, and closer to 86 horsepower. That crank gave it a V-twin feel, with better traction and a broader, more usable power band. It's tall, with a balanced chassis and long gearing that makes it relaxed at high speeds. With a 20-liter tank and surprisingly comfortable ergonomics, this bike eats kilometers like a touring machine. But when the road turns twisty, it responds like a street fighter. The Honda CBR 1100XX Super Blackbird, once the fastest production bike in the world. Now, one of the toughest. It broke speed records in the 90s, clocking over 285 kilometers per hour, but what makes it truly legendary isn't just the numbers, it's the longevity. Riders report 300,000 plus kilometers on original engines, daily abuse, redline pulls, long-haul touring, and still, the Blackbird keeps purring like it's fresh off the lot. At its core is an 1137 cubic centimeter inline-4, pumping out 164 horsepower and 124 newton meters of torque. But it's not just powerful, it's smooth. Thanks to dual balancer shafts, the engine delivers turbine-like refinement, even at Autobahn speeds. You can cruise at 200 kilometers per hour all day, and it won't complain. It rides on a twin-spar aluminum frame, with a 43mm cartridge fork up front and a Pro-Link rear suspension, tuned more for high-speed stability than flickability. Fuel capacity is 22 liters, and with realistic fuel consumption around 6 liters per 100 kilometers, you've got a range of 300 plus kilometers. More if you're gentle, less if you're hammering it. And that's the real charm of the Blackbird. You can tour with it, you can drag race it, you can commute on it. No other hyperbike is this versatile, this durable, or this well-mannered. It was built to break records, and then quietly outlive everything else. Yamaha's Virago and V-Star were built for beginners, but stuck around like seasoned pros. The Virago launched in the early 80s with air-cooled V-twins, shaft drive, and a quirky cruiser style that somehow just worked. Reliable, simple, and surprisingly tough, the Virago gained a reputation for going the distance without asking much in return. By the late 90s, it passed the torch to the V-Star series, known in Europe as the Dragstar. Same formula: air-cooled V-twins, low seat height, mellow gearing, and bulletproof reliability. The V-Star kept what worked and made it smoother. The Virago 750 and 1100 used carbureted engines with shaft drive and minimal electronics, easy to work on, hard to kill. The V-Star 650 made about 40 horsepower, delivered with thick low-end torque and buttery smooth throttle response. The V-Star 1100 bumped that up to 62 horsepower, still with an old-school feel and relaxed, cruiser-friendly handling. Both were known for low seat heights around 700 millimeters and curb weights between 200 to 270 kilograms. No fancy tech, no rider modes. Just an honest motorcycle that starts, rides, and keeps riding. They weren't built to be icons. They just did the job, year after year, until people realized they were legends. And they're not alone. Across decades and brands, a few machines were built not for show, but for the long haul. They weren't made to sit in museums. They were made to ride, through weather, traffic, breakdowns, and time itself. Some of them were fast, some were heavy, some were humble. But they all share one thing: they just won't quit. If your idea of a great bike is one that shows up, starts up, and keeps going long after everything else is rusting away, these are the machines worth remembering. Please subscribe so we can keep bringing more great videos your way.